Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the TLC Podcast. I'm your host, Eric, joined as always by my co host, Mike. Mike, how are you tonight?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great as well. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Coming on here a little bit early today. Got some other things going on later on. So, wanted to get this episode in. A couple things I wanted to talk about before we really get going. Wanted to run an idea by you.
Okay.
And figure, why not just here live spring this idea on you? And, in honor of today, it's Valentine's Day for all you lovebirds out there. We could discuss maybe some of our favorite couples, favorite storylines. Basically, it can be real life couples, it can be just storyline couples, it can be a mixture of both. I wanted to talk about the couples of WWE. I think it's an interesting topic. I dig the whole the love interest storylines that they've done in the past.
Right.
They've gone away from it, basically because us smart marks know who's dating who,
and because of sponsorships, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure that's.
Let's face it, some of the love interest stories would not fly in 2024.
No. In fact, quite a few of them. One of which I wanted to go ahead and talk about. Probably wouldn't make any of our lists as far as any of our favorite couples for obvious reasons once I divulge it. But the Billy and Chuck storyline.
I thought that was fantastic.
I thought it was entertaining as all get out.
It really was a great storyline. And the fact that they were building up a ceremony and they were having the ceremony, and then Bischoff rips off the old man get up, and it was just a very underrated storyline, I think.
It's funny. I heard that basically WWE had this whole thing worked out. Like they were going to have them go through with the marriage on air, and like Bruce and Vince were talking about it, and basically it's like, okay, well, what do we do? Because then they'll be committed in this, supposed to be monogamous relationship, and obviously they're both heterosexual. What do you do to divert from this?
Right.
And I mean, look, obviously you could have one of them get caught fooling around with one of the female superstars. And
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, there were different things you could have done.
Right.
But basically what it came down to when Vince decided not to have that go through and have it get interrupted by 3-minute warning was just Vince being like, I don't think people care.
Right.
Like, I think he really thought, it's 2002. Who gives a crap about two guys getting married?
Probably knowing Vince.
Yeah.
Because he has been so off on a lot of things, too, that it's nauseating. Like, when he did that Stone Cold Session interview and said Cesaro wasn't over with the fans.
Which, that was the dumbest thing I had ever heard.
Right. It really proved that he didn't have his pulse on his product, considering people were going nuts for him. Or he just says, I know what I'm doing, you don't, and just take it as it is.
Which I'll still say now, AEW has taken guys who were over as all get out and just buried them in their. It's like they just want to get they want to acquire every piece of free agent talent at their top value and run them into the dirt.
Pretty much, yeah. That's what they're doing right now.
Who's gotten over in AEW? I mean, Swerve, I guess he's more over than when he came in. Yeah, that's a better question. Who has gotten more over since joining AEW?
Swerve?
Yeah, Swerve is probably the only example of a guy who's gotten more over since going to AEW than he was before going in.
Because if you look at it, and well, MJF.
Okay. Yeah, I'll
MJF.
give you that one too.
But
Yeah.
if you look at it, Jericho couldn't get any more over with all
Yeah.
his years in the business. He was the first heavyweight champion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Omega was already over by the time AEW started.
Right.
Moxley,
I could see the argument that he's maybe gotten a little more over.
you can argue, but he was already a WWE champion.
Right.
He had a nice run. He was already over enough. Just trying to look at the former world champions. Adam Page, I think, was again, he's part of the elite clique. He was already over,
Right.
and this is just kind of their platform to make themselves even more over.
Yeah.
Samoa Joe was over by the time he got there. He's had a
Oh
great
yeah.
career.
Samoa Joe was over in TNA, went to
Right.
WWE, got married, got back over again, and
Right.
and is now in AEW. I would argue that he's at least as over now as he was when he entered AEW.
Yeah, definitely. But
Yeah.
when you look, they've done nothing with the Hardy Boys.
No.
Um,
Bryan Danielson. Like they've
Bryan
had some
Danielson,
nice matches. Now he hasn't been able to stay healthy. That's part of his issue. But
he's had some nice matches. You know who's gotten over more since he's been brought in, I think, is Eddie Kingston.
yeah. Yeah, Eddie
This
Kingston really because I thought he was the lazy bum that Bryan Danielson said he was, but man, he's not. He's a great worker. I was wrong.
yeah, I think him and Swerve have really gotten over
Mhm.
more. Looking at the tag teams, like
FTR, but like I'd say they were just as over 3-4 years ago.
think about it. They were the
Yeah.
first team to win the Raw, SmackDown, and NXT tag titles.
Oh yeah.
So I think that enough says they were over in WWE. It was just Vince's delusions at that point.
I mean, if you think about some of the guys that the Vince delusions has derailed their their careers. I mean, like Miro is another one. You know, he didn't think as Rusev in WWE, he didn't think was getting over.
Right.
Man, Rusev Day was the most over thing in the world. And that was just the fans saying, hey, we're going to take this thing that you put out as a mocking joke and we're going to force it as the greatest thing ever.
Exactly.
And I love like when everyone
it's Rusev Day.
Yeah, like that year at WrestleMania. How awesome is it? WrestleMania falls on Rusev Day.
It was great.
Yeah.
It's a day you can celebrate.
Rusev Day.
It's a day you can celebrate 365 days a year.
And this year we get to celebrate it 366.
That is true.
So
that is true.
An extra Rusev Day.
Right. We really should have more Rusev days. But again, he's another guy in AEW who's been squandered.
Oh my gosh. Like he is I really thought there was no chance WWE was not going to make him the greatest heel in the business.
Right.
And they squandered that one too. Like I couldn't believe both AEW and WWE squandered him.
Yeah.
And here he is. He's this big, brawling brute of a man, you know, as strong as can be. And he's got this smoking hot wife. What guy is not going to just naturally look at him and hate this man?
I know.
And how you don't just push that down everybody's throat and put him right in the WWE title scene. Like, I never understood why he was not given a WWE championship match.
You know why? I think it's because the foreign heel gimmick, like how far,
That was over.
but how far in the past could they take him? And I think that's what
Yeah.
Vince was seeing him as, is more of a foreign heel than someone else, because they were doing the Putin stuff and the
Sure.
Bulgarian stuff and all that other stuff instead of making him his own character.
I understand that. It's funny, we started talking about this, and where I wanted to talk about some of the over super or some of the couples in
Right.
WWE, whether they be past or present, but instead we get into some of the former WWE stars that have been squandered by AEW. That's what we do here at the TLC podcast. We go down rabbit holes. It's a lot of fun. Speaking of things that could take us down a rabbit hole, should we talk about the Cody press conference? And last Thursday, man, they had me so hyped for that press conference. I couldn't wait for it.
I think we kind of sort of have to talk about the press conference. It is kind of major news.
Yeah, so for those of you who are living under a rock, no pun intended, you'd have to be living under a rock to not know about the Cody Rhodes and the hashtag We Want Cody movement. And it starts off a week ago on SmackDown. Cody comes out and confronts Roman Reigns and is just saying how he wants that title. He's still coming for him. And this is, mind you, after Roman had cut a promo basically saying what we've been saying, the whole that Seth Rollins world title is the we can't beat Roman title.
Right.
It's the B championship. And I still say, man, it's all accurate. It's fair. And then to have Cody cut the promo and talk about how he's still coming for Roman Reigns, but maybe not at WrestleMania. Man, talk about just a pure gut punch.
Yes.
And I don't think I've ever been more deflated at the end of a SmackDown
than when The Rock.
And I love The Rock. And I think that was I thought, man, I've got this nice sweatshirt that I got myself, the Rock sweatshirt, and I was looking forward to being able to wear it all winter, be excited. And I thought, I'm like, man, I don't even know if I can really wear this because I don't want The Rock to face Roman Reigns. This has got to be Cody's time. If The Rock wants to do something at WrestleMania, hey, I'm all for it. But it can't be against Roman Reigns.
Right.
And I was not even okay with the idea of the triple threat, which I heard bounced around. And hey, look, we talked about it. And I mean, I suppose I could have gotten on board with it, but man, I wanted Cody, I wanted Roman. That's the match I wanted, and it looks like that's the match we're going to get.
Sunday, we're going to get it, I think.
I think we are. And
I'm interested to see what they're going to do Saturday night now.
It's funny. I thought for sure that we were getting Seth and Drew McIntyre. Now I'm not so sure, especially after Monday night.
Right.
I think they are setting up for Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn at WrestleMania.
Right.
And how would you feel about Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton for the World Heavyweight title?
I'm wondering, because another thing that's throwing me through the loop right now is that WrestleMania 40 trailer that was at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The fact that it is so highly... are we going to get a tag match?
Oh, I know. That's a hot rumor.
Are we going to get The Rock and Roman against Seth and Cody? I mean, we have Seth and Cody going down. It was announced on today, Elimination Chamber. They're going to be on the Grayson Waller effect. Is that to get this match going? Are we going to have a tag team match headline night 1? And then maybe have Seth go defend his title night 2? Cody and Roman night 2? What are we going to get here? This is going to be an interesting, because I thought after the Rollins injury, I really thought night 1 was going to be main evented by Rhea against Becky.
Yeah, I thought so too.
However, I'm not so sure now. I think we might get a tag match. For night 1.
I think there's a very good chance we get that tag match to headline night 1 and then go right into Roman and Cody night 2, Rollins and Orton would be my choice as far as the other guys left in the chamber right now.
Right.
I guess I'd have to see once we know the entire feed on Friday.
Or do they go LA Knight? Even though they're really building up to him and AJ.
Yeah, I think we're getting LA Knight and AJ Styles. I think AJ is going to interfere in the chamber match to cost LA Knight.
I kind of hope he does. I kind of want to see LA Knight against AJ for the chamber. At Mania. But I wouldn't surprise me if we get an LA Knight winning the chamber either, which would be kind of cool.
It would be. I would then wonder, okay, what's your plan then for AJ Styles? To me, like, I feel like I thought after the CM Punk injury, I thought, okay, Drew McIntyre is the big winner of that story.
Right. That's what I
figured. Yeah, I figured we were going to have Cody and Roman, Seth and Punk.
Right.
And I didn't know what, like, I figured, okay, maybe we were going to get, like, now I'm starting to think, were they going to do like a Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton match?
I'm wondering. I'm trying to figure out who the other qualifying matches are on SmackDown.
So we had, was it Ibar and LA Knight? LA Knight getting the win on Monday.
Right, and Lashley won.
Right.
He was against Reed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have Logan Paul as one of the 4 left.
Oh, yeah, Logan Paul. And I figure if you have Logan Paul and Kevin Owens each qualify, like Kevin can pin Logan Paul inside the chamber to set up, the U.S. title rematch at WrestleMania.
Right. That's what would make sense. Let me see here. Yeah, I'm trying to remember who the other matches are.
Logan Paul versus The Miz, and I forget who Kevin Owens has to face.
All right, let's see here. Trying to figure that one out. Kevin Owens. Regardless, I think Owens will win.
I do too. Like I said, I think it sets up the Owens-Logan Paul match, which, look, I could see that kicking off night 1 of WrestleMania weekend.
It very well could. It very well could. Now, here's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting that 8-man match on Raw that I thought might be at Mania.
Yeah.
The Judgment Day against DIY and Awesome Truth. I'm wondering, there's been some legends saying they want to have a table match in Philadelphia at WrestleMania 40 for a retirement match. Mm-hmm. I'm beginning to wonder if those Dudley boys are going to make an appearance.
And maybe the Dudley boys challenge Judgment Day for the tag titles at WrestleMania in a tables match?
No, I was just thinking the Dudleys and either Awesome Truth or DIY in an 8-man tables match.
That'd be pretty cool.
Against the Judgment Day. I was thinking more along those lines. I don't think they would have him challenge in a tables match at WrestleMania because you really can't have the Dudleys lose a tables match in Philadelphia. It doesn't.
I mean, if it were Vince McMahon, I'd say sure you can, because Vince McMahon loves to embarrass guys in their hometowns.
Well, but he's gone. We don't have to worry about him for now.
Yeah. In fact, I'm pretty sure I should have been bleeped out for saying that name.
I think we don't have to worry about him anymore.
No, I don't think so either.
I think now that it's the Endeavor merger's official, I don't think we have to worry about his name anymore. And the fact he got scrubbed from the website, I think
I think you're right. I think that will be the end of Vinnie Mac.
I think so.
And also the end of Brock Lesnar, too, probably.
Probably. I mean,
and it's funny because I hated Brock Lesnar, the character. Like, I didn't like, obviously I didn't like him beating The Undertaker and ending the streak.
Right.
And I never felt like he came across as very appreciative of being a WWE superstar.
No.
And that irritated me.
Right.
So, like, while I'm not his biggest fan, I also didn't want to see this.
Exactly. Yeah. And no one wants to see someone's name get so far run down the mud that this happens.
Yeah. It's like, look, man, it was fun when I was the only one who hated you. Now that everybody hates you, it's not fun anymore.
Exactly.
And now that we have a legitimate reason to hate you, it's not fun to hate you anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, it was fun just hating him to hate him.
Right.
Now that there's legitimate reasons, it's no longer fun.
Okay, so I want to circle back to the subject that I started with, and that being favorite WWE couples. It's Valentine's Day. Hopefully, everybody, you took care of your missus and your significant others.
Right.
Maybe got the appropriate gifts, the flowers, the candies, and all that stuff. Although for me, and I know for you, Mike, you're also a married man. I'm a big fan of the day after and going and getting the Valentine's Day candy at 50% off. That's my jam.
You got to save money somehow in this day and age.
Yes. Yeah.
So you might as well just give your wife candy a day late at half price.
Oh, believe me, my wife loves it too. She is more than okay with that idea.
More bang for your buck.
Exactly. I'll come home with 3 or 4 boxes of candy and I'd be just loaded to the gill, and I could be like, hun, I could have spent the same amount of money yesterday and gotten you 1 box, or I spent that same money and I got you 5 or 6 of them. Here you go. Let's have at it.
There you go.
And especially with Valentine's Day being a Wednesday, dude, it's perfect. You have it all for the weekend now.
That's right.
It doesn't matter if you got it on Wednesday or you got it on Thursday. You got it for the weekend and you're set.
You're set.
Yeah. Always be thinking, okay, WWE couples. I mean, obviously there are some of the classics, the Randy and Liz.
Right.
Triple H and Stephanie. Is there one kind of off the beaten path that you like and you want to maybe talk about?
I think, oh, geez.
And it can be a storyline couple. It can be a real life couple.
You know what? It is a real life couple.
Okay.
That which they had it all and then everything blew up in their face. The Body Donnas, Skip and Sonny.
Oh. Man, yeah.
The way that train wreck happened, how poor Chris Candido passed away from a fluke leg injury. And then Tammy. That's all I can say about her.
Don't do Tammy. Yeah.
I mean, that's like one of those cautionary tales of too much too fast, almost.
Yeah, and I feel like for both of them, and it's funny, like Chris could have been this great worker who just, man, he needed to get away from her.
Yeah, he did.
And I mean, not to say that she was a bad person, because I always hate to put that kind of label on somebody.
Right.
Because I just feel like that's really damning. Like, and look, like I was a big fan of Sunny. You know, the character Sunny. I was 15 years old when she was in WWE. I thought, man, she is the hottest thing. Like, she was like my first crush.
Right.
And I'm sure a lot of our listeners and a lot of reviewers could say the same thing.
I'm sure
Sunny was their first crush. And
right.
And then to hear about what she was like in real life, oh.
Yeah, just a train wreck.
Like the escapade she had with Shawn Michaels. Yeah, the whole, like, she was in that relationship with Shawn Michaels, her and Chris Candido, which I don't know if they were even on the outs, if they ever even officially, like, broke up. But, like, she was seeing Shawn Michaels quite openly.
Right. Yeah, they had some sunny days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I find it comical that then Shawn was the one accusing Brett of having sunny days.
That was great.
Their rivalry.
During their rivalry. Yes, they're one of those couples that that I think kind of get buried in the annals of history because of multiple things.
Well, and Tammy wasn't one, like, they didn't want to talk about her because of all the, like, she wasn't what she portrayed on camera, that wholesome girl next door, which is what her character was kind of supposed to be, and then turned into this, like, money hungry, power hungry bitch, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, that is true. I do have another one.
Okay, yeah.
One of my favorites as a kid was Jimmy Garvin and Precious. I love those two together. I thought the way they made Jimmy be like prim and proper, and Precious did the hair and the whole pretty boy look, I thought that got over like gangbusters. And
that's an underrated one. Yeah.
No matter what territory they were in, World Class, Crockett, you name it, they got it over. Florida. I mean, granted, he did have Sunshine in the beginning, and Jimmy has said he cut Sunshine out to bring Precious in, so this way he could get double the paychecks and bring his wife in instead of some other woman. Very smart man, as we're talking about more bang for your buck with half price candy. Why not get your
also to make sure? Now, granted, we know these are all professionals here. They're working an angle, like, but if you can work it to where you don't have to worry about your wife asking questions about, hey, that chemistry on camera seems a little too strong.
Exactly.
Now, that's not an issue anymore, because the person you have that chemistry with is your real life wife. That's a smart man right there.
And really, it's worked well throughout wrestling. Randy and Liz, Precious and Jimmy Garvin.
Yep.
Even Triple H and Stephanie, I think, have worked really well on camera together. I think when
they've been terrific.
when you have that dynamic of a husband and wife who can really work well together on camera, it adds something extra.
Mm-hmm. Now, what do you think of, and I know we haven't seen a lot of them being actually together on camera, but Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch. I know we only got that small taste of them as a tag team in that mixed tag. Supposedly, a lot of people didn't like that match. I thought it was pretty good. Like
I didn't like the whole gimmick, the whole angle.
Okay.
I think because they tried to force it too much.
Mm-hmm.
And the other problem I have is they tried to force it with Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans, who had no chemistry.
Yeah, those two, like, and look, I would have been fine had they just illustrated the fact that, hey, we're not a couple. We're just here trying to do a job because we want to win championships.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I would have been a bigger fan of it had they done more of promoting that instead of just, they didn't say, oh, we're not a couple, but they didn't say they were a couple. They were very non-committal about, like, you know, and I mean, obviously everybody knew Seth and Becky were a couple, but
right.
Like, to me, it's like, okay, if you're not going to commit to the idea of we're an on-screen couple or we're not an on-screen couple, then don't go there.
Exactly. That's where I felt the Seth and Becky, they could have done a lot more with them if they had two people commit to it.
Right. Do you think they could ever go back to that?
I think they could.
Yeah.
I think they could. I think if they
introduce it right, yeah.
If they introduce it right, I think they could have a feud with Seth and Becky against Naomi and Jimmy Uso.
Oh, that'd be fun.
I think that would really go well. I think based upon the four of their work ethic, how they all four of them could put on a great match with a paper bag. Let's face it.
Oh, yeah.
If you put all four of them together in a match, I think we would have some magic. I think that would be a fun one. Another couple they don't really put on camera much together that they could try something would be Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano.
Yeah, it's funny because they had them together in NXT as part of the family.
Right.
But yeah, they haven't really done much with them since their call up to hell. They haven't done much with either of them, period, since bringing them up to the main roster.
Yeah,
would love to see. Yeah, go ahead.
The whole Way family was great,
and
they haven't done much with that.
Like, I would love to see now with Team DIY. I'd love to see Team DIY versus Grayson Waller and Austin Theory at some point. I think that would be a very entertaining match.
I think so too.
And I think you could dig back into the Way versus DIY and
right.
Okay, I think there's a lot to that story. There's a lot of layers they can unpeel.
Oh, you could definitely unpeel some layerage with that stuff.
Like, and I do feel like that's some of the stuff that's missing with this forced separation of the locker rooms, which I've never been a fan of. So this is my weekly rant against the separate locker rooms for the show.
Right.
Now, the one thing I will say is that I think it would be a lot easier for guys to get lost in the shuffle if you felt like you had to, you know, use Gunther on Raw and SmackDown. Use, you know, Kevin Owens on Raw and SmackDown.
Right.
You know, if you felt like you had to use guys on every show, I feel like it's a lot easier to get the audience to be fatigued on that character.
Right.
But again, I've talked about this before. We could still do, like, Jimmy Uso is only going to wrestle on Raw for a couple weeks, and then it's going to be a couple matches on SmackDown here and there. Like, only working once a week, but never really just saying, oh, he's a Raw superstar. Oh, he's a SmackDown superstar.
Right. You can ping them back and forth because we all know just how much you love separate brands.
Yeah, not at all.
You just
Although I do like NXT. I love NXT being separate from the main roster.
Right.
Because that's supposed to be their minor league, their developmental.
Which really isn't even that anymore.
It isn't that anymore. It really isn't. And it's a third brand now.
It really is.
Like now that's Level Up. Yeah.
Yeah, Level Up's more of the filtration into NXT. I think they need to, with all the shifting and moving around that they're doing coming up late this year, early next year, with moving networks and now that they're going on Netflix is going to they can always use some shows.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing them do like an old school NXT where it really is more of a developmental for Netflix only.
I think that would be fantastic.
I think that would be wonderful.
Would you feel like that could be more like what NXT was, or would you want to go with what's that one show they have on? Is it on Netflix now? The Al Snow's wrestling, OVW.
OVW, yeah.
It sounds like you are having a dog war.
There was, as I was talking to you, I look up and there was some friskiness going on. That's why my face. Yes, there was a little on top of each other. Humping is happening.
Yeah. I mean, hey, look, nothing can go wrong when we're live.
Nothing can
ever happens. We planned it.
Yep. No, yeah. So, and now the other dog's getting involved, and
sure,
it's
he doesn't want to feel left out. Yeah.
Yeah. So the old girl got involved.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to do that. You know.
Sometimes you need to. So, I guess they're in the Valentine spirit.
Yes, they certainly are. God bless them. Congratulations, guys. Well, it sounds like with the night you're fixing to have and the night I'm going to have, at least the dogs got some action tonight. So good for them.
Hey, good for them.
Yeah.
Good for them. I mean, I got sick kids.
Yeah.
And
I've got to go to a hockey game in a little bit.
That's always a fun time.
Oh, yeah. No, it'll be a great time. Going to watch my nephew play hockey.
Very nice.
South. Yeah.
Nice. That's always fun. You said LaSalle?
CB South.
Oh, very nice. CB South. Okay. That'll be a good time. What time's that game?
7:20, I think.
Oh, that's fun. Who are they playing?
I don't know.
There you go.
Yeah, I know my nephew's playing, so I'm going to be there to root him on.
That's all you're there for. That's all. Yeah. That's a good uncle. There you go.
Yeah, I haven't been to any of my niece's college hockey games yet. I have to get to one of them soon. So.
Oh, I love hockey. That's
it's fantastic.
That's my favorite of the major sports.
Oh, really? So not well. I mean, everybody knows my favorite's football, but
right.
I always tell everybody I have two modes: football season and wishing it was football season.
Correct.
And now we're in that wishing it was football season.
Now you're wishing it was. Well, at least you have WrestleMania season.
Yes, and that is always honestly. I go right from football, WrestleMania, and then right after WrestleMania, I go right into the NFL draft mode. And after that, that's when I hit my lull.
There you go.
because usually the NFL draft happens and it's like that weekend is the same weekend as Backlash or like right around there.
Right, yeah.
And after Backlash, it's like, okay, Backlash is still like, it's sort of WrestleMania like. And then like once that's over, it's like, okay, it's not WrestleMania yet anymore. And it's not football season anymore. And as much as I love the beach, and believe me, I grew up on the Eastern Shore of Maryland. I love the beach. It's not the same as being a football fan and being out there amongst 60,000 of my closest friends.
No, it's not. No. I could go my whole life without seeing a beach. I'm one of those people.
Oh, okay.
I don't like the sand.
It gets everywhere.
It does. It's annoying. My kids like.
Yeah, no.
My wife
I'm going down for a week in August. I'll be down in Sandbridge, Virginia with my family. But for me, the real great part will be the drinking festivities and the games we're going to be playing the whole time down there.
Right.
Like, yes. When I come back, I may need a liver transplant. So
it happens.
Yeah,
it happens.
Okay, I figure we ought to go ahead and start wrapping it up. I know you have some things to take care of this evening.
Yeah.
So
things.
Thank you for everybody for joining in, for checking us out. Leave a comment, like, share, follow, subscribe. Subscribe. Blindly follow all the buttons that YouTube and Facebook ask you to do. That's always just good advice.
Always. Nothing is ever gone wrong by blindly following buttons on those websites. Never.
That's right. Never a bad thing has happened to anybody by doing that. Everybody have a great night. Oh, I love this show. But we will next week. We're going to be doing a little turning heel as we're going to say goodbye to the TLC podcast, and we're going to be bringing out the Turning Heel podcast. Don't worry, we're not actually going anywhere. It's just going to be the name of the show. So it'll be a new button for you to like and subscribe and follow.
Exactly.
Yeah. So see, blindly follow those as well.
Exactly.
And also, speaking of blindly following, I am going to throw up here the Ladash scroller, if it will show up for me.
Ooh,
pretty. There it is. Yeah. Just again, yeah, right? Follow that cool little scroller thing. I'm going to let it go through one more time before. Mike, anything to add before we leave?
I think I'm good. I think we really accomplished a lot of couple talk on Valentine's
All right,
Day.
have a great night, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day. All right, have a great night, guys. Happy wrestling.